Hey, good morning, everybody. It is time for the morning briefing. Let me get one more swig of this delicious coffee with you this morning. Excuse me. Delicious. So good. Good morning. It's great to be with you. It's the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. I don't have to tell you that. You're here, and we're ready for the morning briefing. And there's a lot to cover with you. You know, that bluefin tuna switch is going on. I've got some evidence of that in just a moment for you. Perfect timing for our Wednesday night departure on board the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. You can feel the electricity building for that trip. Can't wait. Some very good dorado fishing in San Diego, and the Baja guys continue to hammer away at kelp patty fish, seeing some marlin, and there's also a lot of yellowfin tuna getting into the picture. Outstanding dorado fishing here locally, still going on with a few misses now, however. We'll talk about that and a lot more as the surf fishing has been really good, and there's some good island fishing going on also. Good morning, everybody. So great to be back with you all again. And as we look down the coast here and we pop across the border into Mexico, man, there are some good signals and signs still taking place. In fact, Martin Padilla has been down there at La Bocana having great yellowtail fishing. Of course, all the bottom stuff you want, and a couple of big black sea bass. I hope you saw that the other day. And there seems to be a steady flow and more warm water pushing up the Baja coast and ultimately here into Southern California. That all bodes well for the future. There is no question about it. Pongueros down there in Ensenada continue to catch copious amounts of dorado on the kelps. There's yellowtail on the kelps to a lesser degree, and they've been seeing a lot of marlin down there. Arnie Man, one of the guys we fish with down there in beautiful Ensenada, has been seeing some marlin, and the dorado and the yellowfin are just starting to turn on. We've talked a lot about that yellowfin tuna here recently. We've been seeing it more than we've been catching it, but here recently we're starting to catch more and more of it. And it just seems like when fish move in, sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes a month, but they need some time to settle in. Sometimes it's right away. And especially yellowfin, you know, it's kind of funny to see them finicky because usually they bite full speed. They're not as finicky as bluefin tuna. But this bunch of yellowfin has been going to school with the bluefin tuna, and they are on the finicky side. So we'll just wait for it to really start to turn on. We're seeing good evidence of it, and hopefully it's going to get rocking and rolling more. It's good reason for you to bring fluorocarbon. Of course, we like Opsin, www.opsinusa.com. Put in FA at checkout for a note from Greg Brown as well as a free gift. We like that, and it really does pay off. 30, 40-pound fluoro in most cases is going to work just fine. Sometimes you can drop down to get a bite, especially if you're fishing kelps and you're catching dorado that are in the 5 to 20-pound class. You should be able to get away with 20-pound if you're a private boater, especially when you get into all that mess on a sport boat. You got, 30 people on there, 40 people on there, and these things are jumping and getting tangled up. Sometimes if you can hook them on a little bit heavier line, that will work really well for you. So keep that in mind. Some good fishing south. It's always a preview of things to come here in Southern California, so we love what we're seeing south of the border. And don't forget, you can drive across, go down and fish with the Pongueros, and really have a lot of fun. Great times out of Ensenada right now. Hopefully that's going to continue. All right, I'm going to kind of jump around now on this bluefin tuna because we're seeing some really good signs. And San Diego-based boats are fishing sometimes where Redondo-based boats are fishing. So it's kind of all in the same. Pacifica with limits of bluefin tuna. Nice hit for them. Out of Redondo, the Navigante, the first day of a 2.5-day trip, limits of bluefin tuna. Really good fishing. 30 to 40-pound fluorocarbon, 2.0 size hooks with the sardines, and the stuff was biting in the daytime. And now we have a scenario on this bluefin tuna as we look into our Amigo trip, and I'm talking to the guys who are on that trip because we've got daytime fish and we've got some really big fish on the nighttime. All you have to do is go back to yesterday's morning briefing and hear what the Polaris Supreme did on their recent 3-day trip with 44 of their fish over 100 pounds. Now, those are the nighttime, knife jig, biting kind of fish. However, we haven't seen really good daytime fishing for sport boats. And that is really part of the game now. It is really starting to come on. 30 to 40 pound, you want even 50 pound fluorocarbon, good hot bait. Don't underestimate how important it is to choose a really good hot bait. And again, about a 2-0 hook. Sometimes you can go down on that hook, sometimes you can go up. It's all about the intensity of the bite. You've got to gauge that. You've got to be an observer. You have got to play a role in your fish catching. It's not all up to the crew and all up to the captain. You've got to play a role. And by that I mean proper tackle and choosing a good hot bait. Don't underestimate how super important that is. So Navigante perhaps showing us what we might be getting into on the Amigo, and it couldn't happen at a more perfect time to see that daytime bite, and then you have that nighttime big fish bite, and then you've got all kinds of other options with Dorado and kelps and so much more. And who knows what's going to happen in the very near future. Now, also out of San Diego yesterday on board the Malihini with our good friend Bill Wilkerson. Great trip on board there with 40 on the Dorado, and they also had 10 mixed tuna, bluefin and yellowfin tuna. Travis Bright, who is a member of the Friedman Adventures family. Great guy. He graces our cover today with a nice Dorado. He said it got full speed on the Dorado at times. It was really, really good. Travis, so happy you had a great trip. So happy Bill had another great trip on board the Malihini. That is all good to see. Once again, folks, remember how important it is to choose that hot bait. Last time I'll say, and I know you're thinking I'm emphasizing it too much, but you know, when you look in the bait well and you see a bait that's bumping into the sides of the well, got a red nose, man, you just want to skip over that. You want that bait that swims up to the corner and then goes like this and goes like that. That's the bait you want. And a butt hook bait has been working really, really well. So great fishing. Now, it's still kelp patty fishing down there in San Diego. It's still finding the right school of fish. So there were some guys who missed. Looking at the overnight fleet in San Diego, some really good scores with limits of Dorado, fast and easy, and other guys that struggle a little bit. So it's usual, you got to have the horseshoe when you're looking at these kelps, and it looks pretty darn good weather-wise right now. Still, what a magnificent season this has been. It's been really, really good, and it's continuing into our future right now, looking good. All right, let's go down to the islands. Todos Santos has got a lot of yellowtail right off of Ensenada. The Coronado Islands, pretty darn good fishing. Seems to me like you can get 30 to 50 yellows there on just about every day. The Grande with 30 yellows, 10 barracuda, and a few bass and rockfish like that. Not a bad day at all. The islands are a viable option to you if you'd like to catch some nice grade yellowtail. 10 to 15 pounders prevalent. Get fish up to 20 pounds. Fly line bait, yo-yo iron, surface iron have all been effective at times. So it's a pretty good bite. And the thing that makes it so great at the Coronado Islands is it's right there. I mean, you go offshore, you know, I mean, you just start driving offshore and you're likely to find a school of bluefin or yellowfin, maybe a kelp with some Dorado on it. That makes it all the more interesting and really, really great stuff. San Clemente Island still has a lot of yellowtail at it. You can catch anywhere from, I want to say 20 to 40 yellows, sometimes better than that. At SCI, you got to deal with those sea lions, but that's just part of the game right now. Just about everywhere you look, there's that sea lion problem. So you're going to have to deal with that. When you're fishing there at the island, 25, 40 pound mono, working good. Fluorocarbon, we suggest, and the baits thing, you know all about that. As we move you up to Catalina Island, that island has been tough in terms of trying to catch yellows or even calico bass. You know, pretty good fishing at times, but most everybody's on that Dorado right now. They're fishing Dorado, and that bite still, we'll get into it in a moment, darn good. And then we move you up there to the Channel Islands. They get a sea bass here and there, a halibut here and there, and still some really, really good rock fishing. And the guys that are 2-day trips or more are fishing tuna. So let me go back to the coast, kind of. I mean, it's right here off the coast where this Dorado bite has been absolutely phenomenal, and it continued that way for many yesterday with just great Dorado fishing. Perhaps historic numbers of Dorado are in the water. We certainly are seeing that. Haven't seen this amount of fish here in our local waters in a million years. I mean, I don't remember seen, and we are still seeing it. I don't remember seeing so many fish. It's absolutely incredible, and guys are seeing it again yesterday. Pursuit, 131 on the Dorado. What a day on the Victory, 173 on the Dorado. Most of it is in that, I want to say, 7 to 12 pound class, some bigger, some smaller, some you can bounce, some you need a gaff on. It is really phenomenal fishing. 25 pound fluorocarbon, 20 pound fluorocarbon. You got a boat full of people and all the boats are sold out, so you're going to deal with that. A lot of people on the boats. So you want to have an edge, and that is going back. I said I wasn't going to say it again, but here I go. You want to go back to fluoro, even a smaller hook at times, and also choosing a good hot bait. So 20 to 25 pound fluoro, you get into a bite like they had on the Victory, you switch over to your 40 pound rod right away. Again, being observant, paying attention, watching it, talking to the crew on the way out. Those guys are out there every single day. Ask them, what size hook should I be using when we get going? What is the fluoro that is working best? Those guys are going to tell you, and that's what you want to do. The city of Long Beach looked at, and part of why we're starting to get some holes in the counts, guys that are not doing that well, is the boat pressure is just ridiculous right now. It's a big flotilla out there, and that makes it difficult at times, but it's still good fishing. But some guys went off, looked in another area. One of those guys was the city of Long Beach, and he poked away at the fish, didn't kill him, but man, he saw thousands of Dorados still. All the guys are reporting that down. Out of Dana Wharf Sport Fishing, similar kinds of things going on with great Dorado fishing for some and a little bit scratchier for others. There's fish south of Dana, there's fish north of Dana. It's really, really good. Western Pride had 18 Dorado. Monte Carlo has switched to 3/4 day out of 22nd Street. They also had 18 Dorado. So you can see that it's not that wide open bite for everybody, but if you get into the right kelp or find the right breezer or just stumble off into another area, you can do really, really well. If you're a private boater, I highly recommend that you get away from that boat pressure and go find another kelp somewhere else. There's a lot of fish. They don't all bite, but as a private boater, you want to go find your own fish and get away from the flotilla. So, and that'll make the guys on the sport boats happy also if you do that. So that is something definitely to keep in mind. Along the coast, we continue to see okay fishing. Most guys are focused on this offshore thing. A little bit of bass from Ensenada all the way up to the Channel Islands. A few occasional schools of barracuda also in that neck of the woods. And as far as the surf fishing, there's been some good Corvina fishing, really good at times. So natural baits are what you want to use there. And there's also been some good yellowfin, croaker, occasional halibut on the Lucky Craft lures. That also has been pretty darn good. I'm so excited now about our Amigo trip leaving Wednesday night. Maybe 1 or 2 openings on that. I'm not sure. I have a guy that kind of needs to do something else, so I'll check that. But you can send me a text anyway, and I'll be able to get you tuned up on that. We're leaving Wednesday night. We'll have a little buffet in the Friedman Adventures studio before we leave, so you won't have to worry about your meal before we take off. And of course, it's going to be a lot of fun because all the Friedman Adventures family members will be coming out. Still outstanding fishing. In fact, that bluefin tuna switch seems to be going on right now. We'll keep our eyes on it. Is it just a momentary bite, or is it something that we can look forward to in the future? And private boaters have been catching that daytime fish, as evidenced by my son Philip and Travis Strain, who were out the other day on their private boat, and they were hooking fish in the daytime all day long. Hopefully we're going to continue to see all of this great fishing continue to head in the right direction. And of course, we'll be watching it here on the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel for you as we move along. Hey, I don't know how to thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave you with the Friedman Adventures family helping a family across the border in Mexicali whose home was destroyed due to a lightning strike. So I'll leave you with that because I'm very proud of all the people swirling around the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. There's a lot of great people doing a lot of great things. I'll leave you with that, and I will see you again really, really soon. everybody, it is Phil Friedman from the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. You often hear me talking about the Friedman Adventures family. That is all the people who listen to our podcast and also contribute to our charity efforts, whether it's taking veterans fishing here in the United States or reaching our hand across the border. We have so many of our great Friedman Adventures family who are always there to help. So I want to take you to Mexicali in Baja California and tell you about a story where there was recently a thunderstorm and a lightning bolt hit a transformer and set an adjacent trailer on ablaze. It was the living quarters for a family, and the entire thing burned down along with all their belongings. They just escaped with their lives. The father taking each and every family member one by one out of the trailer that was ablaze. He got everybody out just in the nick of time. Unfortunately, the family dog was killed in this incident. Everything that this family had was destroyed. And it's a small world, but Alejandra Lopez, her kids and my kids went to school together in Nativity Catholic School in Torrance, California, and Bishop Montgomery High School. And these were some of her relatives. So she reached out and said, "What can you do?" So I met up with Alejandra today at Gallagher Staging because we have all kinds of clothing stored there for a giveaway we're going to do on the 6th of January, just a little bit later, actually next year, first part of next year. Greg Bates heard about this and said, "I'll be there. I just want to be there to help you separate clothes, do whatever I can." So he showed up. Alejandra and her mother were there, and we got a lot of great stuff together, including some cash donations, about $500, really quick to send down to the family in Mexicali. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Alejandra. Let her tell the story. So Alejandra, it's great to see you, by the way.
I'm so happy to see you today. Thank you so much for helping us. This is going to be wonderful.
So our kids all went to school together, and
Yes.
you called me the other day.
Yes, I did.
Apparently there was a fire
Yes.
with some of your relatives in Mexicali.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Yes, our nephew was asleep with the family 3 o'clock in the morning from the story I gathered. There was a rain or storm, and there was a transformer that hit a burning section of the house.
A lightning strike?
Lightning strike. The whole house caught on fire. They lost everything. He saved every single person in the family.
Wow.
And
He was walking them out one by one?
Yes,
Is that
and they
how?
were trying to all get out. They have scratches. They have second, third degree burns. So it was a horrific experience for them. And they made it out. They all ended up going to the hospital. So we're trying to help out the family, the children.
One casualty, the family dog
The
perished.
family dog, Aaron, passed away the same day.
Yeah.
And that was very unfortunate because he really loved his German Shepherd. But it's just very, everybody's grateful that they made it out. They do have to heal from these burns. And we're all just trying to pitch in and help them best we can with some donations. So maybe they could start over and someone allowed them to stay in a house for a temporary time while they're healing. In the meantime, they are going to have to start over with furniture and clothing and just anything that would be provided for them would be wonderful.
Alejandra, I think it's important people know in Mexico, there's really no safety net. When you have something like this happen to you,
Right.
you have to figure it out.
Yeah, to figure it out, there's not a lot of resources. There's not a lot of reach out for them as far as like even therapy for what they're going through. So I from what I hear in the conversations, they can't sleep at night right now. They are asking for smoke detectors, carbon monoxide. We're thinking of gathering these things for them because they can't sleep at night right now. This is what they're going through.
So the Friedman Adventures family, that's all the people who listen to our podcast. They're so generous. They donated all this clothing and everything else.
Thank you.
Israel de la Cruz, I mentioned this
Right.
on our podcast the other night, and he said, "I'm sending money over." So I'm going to anticipate.
you.
I'm going to give you $100 in his
Thank
name.
you
We'll
so
see what he
much.
sends.
That's very appreciated.
And
They're
then
gonna really need it.
we're here at Gallagher Staging. Joe Gallagher, great guy. He stores all these clothing for us.
Yeah.
Greg drove all the way out here to help us today.
Thank you, Greg.
So I can't thank you enough. And that's what this is for. Actually, we're going to take most of this down for Dia de Reyes
Right.
to certain parts of Mexico. But you called me. That's what this stuff is for. And I'm so
Thank you.
happy. Thanks to the Friedman
We
Adventure
appreciate
family,
it.
we're
Thank you
able to
so
help.
much. God bless you, and hopefully God will give you more so you can continue to help and reach out to lots of families that always appreciate your help.
All right, let's get back to work and start
Thank you
picking out
so
clothing.
much. Let's do this. Thank you.
Because of the Friedman Adventure family, we hope that this family in Mexicali can get back on their feet and headed in the right direction again. It's all because of the Friedman Adventures family. All of you who listen to our podcast, and when we call out and ask you for help, you're always there. We can't thank you enough. I know that family in Mexicali is really going to be thankful, and we'll keep working with you to make the world a better place. Thank you so very much.